you were talking about the fact that when these businesses are hurt, everybody in the community is hurt in terms of the taxes generated, in terms of the employment. The people perhaps have to move out of the state as well.
Well, last I heard, they say that there's something like 1 out of 3 people work for the government in one form or another. And I don't mean that you're just a taxpayer paying bills.
Well, you know,
people can't continue on the road we're going. I mean, we're overtaxed, overburdened, and it has to come to an end. I don't know how it's going to come to an end, but it should start right here in the local government. But I don't even see fiscal responsibility here on the local end. And the best example I can give you is in the last Board of Selectmen's meeting, the discussion was that we had a $940,000 deficit. And how are we going to get around it? Now, 2 positions had not yet been filled in the town. If they weren't filled, then we didn't need to worry too much about the $940,000. And yet the board voted that they wanted to fill the positions no matter what, because the people had voted to accept the budget. My argument is, yes, people voted to accept the budget, but they didn't analyze the budget. They trusted the Board of Selectmen to be frugal with their money and not to spend it foolishly. And we know that we don't have the money now, and we should act like any logical businessman would act. You don't have the money to spend, so you don't dig yourself a ditch, a hole to crawl into. I had no backing. I mean, we got an 11-member Board of Selectmen, and I couldn't get one person to back me in a vote. I mean, something's wrong.
So you're feeling then that basically people are not keeping an eye on the budget, and therefore taxes are just going to continue to rise, which means, number one, a lot of people will begin to lose their homes. Interest rates are going up, taxes are going up, property taxes are going up as well. People are going to lose their homes, and more than that, everybody loses.
Well, if you live in the city of Willimantic, which I don't, you've got to pay tremendously high taxes, and yes, people are apt to lose their homes. I mean, I have not seen a tax decrease. I may have seen a million decrease when revaluation comes along, but my actual total tax that I pay each year is always more than the preceding year. I pay more in a month right now. Hell, more in a month. I spend more in a week, I think, than what my original mortgage was just in taxes. So we're in a spiraling of inflation that just doesn't end, and I think that people have got to realize that it just can't keep going. If you enjoy private ownership, owning your own home, you should be concerned about taxes, because as far as I'm concerned, government is probably the biggest enemy that small business really has. And you may think that's extreme, but I think it's true. I mean, people and small businessmen worry more about the government and what it can do to them than they do about anything else.
Are there any particular goals that you want to achieve? Of course, you're running for re-election here in Windham, Connecticut for Selectman. And are there any particular goals that you would like to see achieved when you get back in on the board during the next term?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I have been trying to work to get an industrial park in the town. I think that any town needs a good industrial base, because businesses do not utilize services at the rate that the private homeowner does. When a young family moves into town, even though they pay tremendously high taxes, they don't pay enough in taxes to reimburse the town for the services that are required. To send a child to school right now is over $11,000 per student. I think it's $11,800, but I'm not going to argue the point whether it's $11,600 or $11,800. A business doesn't utilize those types of services. They generate money to the local economy by creating jobs, and the money that they pay in payroll gets recirculated amongst the other merchants within the town. So, you know, last I knew, they said $1 earned or spent usually circulated about 8 times before it left the economy. whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. I'm not a financier or a Milt Friedman. But the other thing is, aside from getting an industrial park, I'm very concerned about whitewater. I'm really concerned about the dams in the river. I don't want to see those dams torn out. I think that this country needs renewable energy power sources, and there is a potential to generate a lot of hydroelectric power on those existing dams, and I don't want to see them damaged or removed. And if it comes to a vote, anyone starts to talk about removing the dams, I will be opposing it every step of the way.
Now, as far as the industrial park is concerned, do you have any specific plans that might be implemented to try to attract that industrial park here?
Oh yeah, we already own property down Route 32 in South Windham, and the town has been negotiating with another owner of property down there to purchase the property, and if we get it all set up, we'll probably have an industrial park of 80+ acres. And it's a good location for an industrial park because you're on a state highway, Route 32, which is a direct connector link to the interstate. And I think transportation is vitally important to anybody in an industrial park. They need to get their goods to wherever their ultimate goal is. So Route 32 to 395 is a big drawing card, I think, to set up an industrial park.
And you as a businessman would probably be in an excellent position to look at this, to analyze it, and to talk to other business people to really convey the benefits and also to understand their needs.
Well, actually, I don't really talk to other businessmen that much about stuff like this. I mean, most businessmen know what their needs are, and if they're going to go out and start investigating purchasing property or something, they're not going to be coming and talking to me. They're going to be talking to a realtor first, and then trying to find out where available property is. If it's available in the town, they will make inquiries and they'll find out who are the right people to talk to. Believe me, members of the Board of Selectmen are not the right people. Very few of them know very little about anything.
Do you find that you're going to have any particular role in implementing this plan?
Well, I tend to have a role in trying to get an industrial park set up. I do not intend to have a role in trying to induce particular people to settle in it.
I had another question. Some people have said that the present structure of the Republican Party is that it has moved to the far right. And I think you probably would disagree, or at least I'd like to have your understanding of where you think the Republican Party is in this town and where it should be, and what we should really be doing as a Republican Party. That's a tough one.
Well, I guess I'd have to try to figure out just where far right is. I mean, if I'm far right, then so be it, I'm far right. But I've made no secrets about the fact that I tend to be a libertarian. I believe in fiscal responsibility. I believe in personal integrity, personal responsibility. I believe in a little bit of honor and forthrightness. And if that makes me far right, well, maybe we need a little bit more